So after using the iPhone 10 for a month, I have come away with the impression that this is hands down easily the best iPhone of all time. Let's talk about it right now. So a lot of people have been asking me about my impressions of the iPhone 10. And unlike in times past where I would just review a device really quickly, I wanted to spend some considerable time with the iPhone 10 before forming an opinion because it is that different from any other iPhone before it. The first thing you're going to notice is the design, and I think Apple knocked it out of the park with the design. I was so tired of the 6th era design, and this one really does a good job of combining the design of my two favorite iPhones from a design perspective, the original and the iPhone 4. You get the glass sandwich look of the iPhone 4, and then you get that nice metal band that wraps around the perimeter of the device like the original iPhone. And it looks absolutely stunning in either color. I like the silver color, but I think the space gray color also looks absolutely gorgeous. So definite win when it comes to design. Apple knocked it out of the park, no doubt. The next thing is the bezels. The reduced bezels allow for a larger screen in a smaller form factor, so it's much easier to grip, way easier to handle than the iPhone 8 Plus. But because of the reduced bezels, you get a very large screen that's extremely immersive. I mean, extremely immersive. There's also that notch. Now, I know a lot of people complain about the notch. Oh, Apple's design is lacking, but I think Apple did the right thing by embracing the notch. I think it would have been a mistake to hide the notch with software because you really can't understand what it's like to use this device without using it for yourself. Like videos and pictures and things like that make it look a little weird, but it truly is immersive and you truly do forget about the notch largely. I mean, obviously it's still there, but you do largely forget about the notch after using this device in the hand. Now, viewing it on paper, even viewing it on this video doesn't do it justice, doesn't do the experience of using it over a period of time justice. And I'm not just making this up, but it really does fade into the background, as hard as that may be to believe just looking at the device. Now, as a former jailbreaker who's very familiar with using gesture controls on an iPhone, I was extremely excited to try the gesture controls on the iPhone 10, and I'm happy to say that it works very well. That's not to say that there's no learning curve. It does take a little bit of time to get used to, but once you do, it feels natural. The true depth camera makes Face ID a reality on the iPhone 10, but would it be good enough to replace Touch ID? Yes, it's more than good enough. It works remarkably well, and it really is the biggest surprise of the iPhone 10 in my opinion. Of course, there's things like Animoji, but really the iPhone's biggest win from a technical standpoint is Face ID. You're not going to want to go back to Touch ID. You might think the Super Retina HD display is turned off right now, but actually no, it's just a black image. That is the type of black levels that an OLED display affords. Of course, you get insane contrast ratio. You do get a little bit of blue shift off axis, but certainly not a deal breaker. Now, the iPhone 10 actually has a better telephoto lens than the iPhone 8 Plus. You get not only a stabilized lens, but you get a faster lens. This results, among other things, better low-light photos. Now, all of that praise that I just heaped on the iPhone 10, that's not to say that it's perfect. There are some definite questionable decisions like accessing Control Center and Notification Center is just ridiculously difficult. And Apple hides very important status details like VPN connectivity or even do not disturb status. You actually have to swipe down Invoke Control Center to see those things. It can make you just outright forget that you're either connected to a VPN connection or you're using Do Not Disturb. Very, very questionable design decision there. And then of course, iOS still has its bugs and frame rate issues, but by and large, this is still an incredible device and I can unequivocally recommend it. Absolutely. If you're on the fence, just go ahead and do it. Get the iPhone 10.